But I remember one time I was like, maybe I'll get a pet. So I don't know if you ever had these county, like these fairs or these festivals at your school.
Yeah.
You ever have those? Like
we did.
They would like come like
confetti eggs and stuff. We would have different things.
Like they would come like carny, like they would open up it was like a Ferris wheel, and like they would come for like a few days, like a mini little what do you call them? Like not carnival, but like a like a fair. A fair.
Yeah, we just had a carny in here actually, which was pretty cool. But we had fairs too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I can't never tell if you're joking.
Oh, we had a carny in here.
You said that.
We had a carny.
How did you?
We had a carny in here actually.
How'd you book one?
We just searched for him. We searched for him. We found a decent guy. But but they had fairs too. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So we had these fairs.
Would come to your school.
Yeah, they would post up in the parking lot, and it was also a way for the school to raise money because it would also be like casino night at the church.
Oh,
so like the parents they would get so it was like. But they had those games that I would come home with like a stuffed animal, whatever. And they had this thing where you threw a ping pong ball in Goldfish in these little, there was like maybe a grid, like 20 by 20 grid of these little bowls with goldfish in them. Mm-hmm. And then it was like 50 cents. You threw a ball. If a ping pong ball landed in the thing, they bagged up the goldfish for you.
And they gave it to you.
Yeah, they shouldn't be doing that. I mean, if you think people don't give goldfish any respect at all. Like they're just as good as nothing. Yeah. They're like ants. Like, it's not fair. People eat them and throw them back up like Steve, but goldfish get a really bad, they're really born into a bad life if you think about it. They don't have a memory. They don't, a lot of them are used just to feed other fish.
It's almost sex trafficked almost in a way.
It's really bad.
No sex, yeah.
Yes, and if you're a goldfish, I mean, I don't know, man. A goldfish is a terrible life. You get split from your family,
You don't even know who your family is.
You don't know who your family is. You get immediately you either live alone for your whole life, or you get thrown in with people you don't want to be with.
Yeah.
And then you usually die of an infection. Your eye has a big freaking like cotton ball on it or something like that. And you die slow.
Yeah.
Nobody knew how to reverse a goldfish death when I was young. You got it. And then when it started to die, you're like, oh, there's the white stuff. Couple weeks now. He's got a couple. And then you just watch, you'd still feed him and you just watch him with like one flip or you'd stare at this thing looking at you like I have been dying for 2 weeks, So as a matter of fact, I got it. So I would get them and bring them home and like, oh, this is going to be like I'll pass the time. I have something to take care of now.
Yeah.
My mom never knew. I never got the setup. She never got me a tank, a filtration system.
No.
I didn't know you needed a filtration
system.
I did not know. Because when you threw the ball in the thing, there was no filtration and they just threw them in that water. Well, that water has to be cycled and filtered, whatever. Those are all goners in there. If the ping pong ball don't hit, they're dying anyway, right? It's like a kill shelter basically for fish, right? And so I would bring them home and I would put them in a salad bowl. I just fill up tap water, throw them in a salad bowl. I'm like, this is like the
Italians think you can solve anything with throwing it in a salad bowl, dude.
Dude, I was like, this is this is 8 times bigger than where he came from. He's like the Jeffersons right now. He's moving on up this thing. I'm in a big salad bowl, right? And I would just bread. It was white bread. I would just put white bread in there. And I was like,
what the fuck?
Because I'm a kid.
What are you making, a sandwich?
Dude, when we were a kid and we went fishing at the lake, we would ball up Wonder Bread till it became like a ball.
Oh yeah, a little nugget and put it in.
And then put it on the hook. And we did it with Wonder Bread. So I would just feed it Wonder Bread. And it wasn't until way after that I realized like the fish would eat, like I would break it and throw it in chunks and it would suck it right in and then shoot it right back out. Some of them wouldn't come back out, but most of them would shoot back out.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I just was like, he's full.
Yeah.
But I guess he just didn't want white
I don't
bread.
think they can take it in.
Yeah. So they would always die.
Oh.
So I felt so bad. So then I realized one day, like I was like, the fish store, because there was a fish store near my cousin's house that we used to, it was on the same square block. We weren't allowed to cross the street. So we can go to the fish store without crossing the street. Mm-hmm. So one day I'm in there and I'm like, oh, there's these bubbles. Like, I don't have that. I got to get bubbles.
Yeah.
So one time I went in and I brought a fish home. My mom wasn't home from work yet. And I was like, I don't want this fish to die. And so I took a straw.
Yeah.
And I put it in the fish bowl, in the salad bowl, and I blew into the salad bowl to keep the fish alive. I blew bubbles for 3 hours until she got home at 6:00. Thing was dead that night. I'm blowing carbon dioxide directly into the thing. I literally poisoned the fish. I'm sitting there going, and and I named him Harry, and I remember because I named every fish and they all died very quickly.
Yeah.
And so here I am 3 hours blowing with a straw, and I just thought the bubbles did it. So finally, when I got older, my niece won a fish and she brought it home. Or maybe my little sister or my niece won a fish, brought it home.
And was it beautiful? Was it big?
It was little. It was a little, right? But I was like, I'm not letting this happen to this fish. I was like,
right. This is going to be different.
I was like 20. I was like probably like 23, 24.
Right. Who am I if I continue to let this happen?
Went right to the store, bought the whole setup. I came home, rocks, like coral, fake coral.
Yeah, castle, a little DMV in there.
I had the treasure chest and like a little DMV kind of thing.
Little perk dealer.
Yeah. I got all that. I had the whole neighborhood in there, right? Yeah. All the people in the neighborhood. But I had all the accoutrement. And I got into it. You buy the rocks. I don't know if you ever had a fish, but then you have to you roll the rocks through a strainer because the dye has to come off a little bit.
Oh, no.
And then you put them in there and you have to, I got so into this. I bought medicine, food. I bought all I would do the water. I would test it, the pH, put all the, I would, what do you call it? I would, condition the water.
Oh, yeah.
And I took this fish and I had it for 6 or 7 years.
No
right?
way.
And the fish became like this big. And I don't know if it's a thing, but I would just feed the fish. I would put my hand and the fish would eat out of my hand. That might be one any of them do, but it really felt like we had something.
Yeah.
Like if I put my hand there, he didn't jolt away.
Right.
He would just go. He would go in my hand and just stay there.
Oh.
You know? And so
Yeah,
7
you don't
years.
see a lot of that.
You don't see that now these days with goldfish with people like that, right? Anyway, one day he died or whatever. And I honestly think he was murdered. I really do. I'm not making a joke. I know it sounds like I am. I think that it was a spite. I think maybe got murdered out of spite from somebody in my house. I think, or a friend, because I had just cleaned the fish tank. He was in perfect health. I just did a full fish tank cleaning. You did it every 3 weeks. I mean, I dumped it out. I put him in another bucket.
Yeah,
you have to do this whole thing. You put half of the water in the bucket with him because you want it to stay the ecosystem, that water.
Oh yeah, it's like FEMA or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I was basically like Red Cross. Right?
Yeah, my cousin worked for FEMA for a while. They had to do all that shit. He'd be fucking putting wet people in shoe boxes for 2 hours while they fucking vacuum out there.
I was FEMAing it up, and I put it in. I tested everything. I mean, I had this thing to a science thing with 7 years, right? And it looked beautiful too. It flourished, right? Then the next day he was in the clean water, just dead, just not even a slow death, just dead.
Yeah.
I suspect foul play, but this fish moved with me to 3 different locations.
Ooh.
Okay, so I'm in the 3rd location that I've owned this fish in 7 years, and that's where he died. And it was a summer, and I felt guilty. I didn't want to flush the fish. It just felt disrespectful. 7 years, I'm gonna
and the pipes too. Are you in New York at that time?
Yeah. I don't want to put the fish that I called my friend where people shit.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. Hey, fish, I love you. Yeah.
That's something. People just flush the goldfish when they die. It's so disrespectful. They have no platform, no voice. Anyway, I didn't want.
You're right. They don't.
They don't. People don't. I didn't want to. So I'm gonna bury it in the yard.
Yeah.
And it was a summer, and I just didn't want to bury it because I felt like it was gonna stink and decompose and stuff. Maybe be dug up by a raccoon. And so I was like, I have to wait till cooler weather. And so I
put it in the freezer.
I did.
Wow.
Did I tell you this story?
No.
Because I told it before. But
I was thinking, what would somebody do?
I put it in tin foil, and I put it in my freezer.
Yeah.
And I kind of half and half. Half was I forgot about it, and maybe I missed a cycle.
Or maybe you don't want to remember because it's painful too. Sometimes your brain will hide information.
Yeah, I had to unearth it in therapy or something. But one thing led to another, and a few warm seasons passed, and I still hadn't. I still hadn't done it, and then it got to the point where I was like, I don't know. I just felt bad. I was like. Whenever I just felt bad, and then I moved.
It could have been toxic shock syndrome or something. A lot of animals, if they move too many times, they get really sick.
Yeah, well, I mean, not to worry about that with him because he was dead. Oh, another thing was I thought that they had only died when I was like, it's bad luck to name him. So I had this fish in 7 years. I didn't name him.
Oh, that would kill anyone.
I called him Fish. It was fine. He didn't care. And I moved, and then I moved. I took the stuff from my fridge and freezer with me. It's not like I'm going to throw stuff out. I took them. I moved again. So I moved from
And what kind of
that
compartment is
house-
he in? Are you keeping him in a little bowl or a little bag with water in it?
It's tinfoil.
Okay.
He's not in water. And so the place I had him,
So you just have like a couple grams of a fish rolled up in tinfoil?
it's like this big of a fish. And it's in my freezer right now. He's in my freezer
Like a
right now.
sockeye, I guess.
He's in my freezer right now. And
Is he really?
it has been, since he died, it has been 2010. It's been about 12 years
Ooh.
since he's died. And I moved into the house 2010 that he died in. And then when I moved to my next house in 2015, he was already dead. So he died somewhere between 2010 and 15, like 2012, 2013. The fish is frozen in my freezer right this very, very second.
Wow, still today.
Today, 12 years, I have a frozen fish in there. I've told the story in my podcast, and people started sending me fish coffins, little fish coffins. And I was going to actually have a funeral for him.
Yeah.
I was literally going to, because I told him on my pod years ago, and so people started sending them in, and we were going to do like a Patreon funeral for him.
Oh, man.
But he's in, and then you know what? I ended up taking him. I hadn't done it, but we talked about it, so I got him out of the. I used to film it at my house. So I got him out of the freezer and I opened it.
No way.
Yeah,
On
I was
camera?
scared. I did. Yeah, I opened. He's still there. I put him back in, but I was scared to do it.
Did he have any? How did he look?
It wasn't good. You know, he was still whole.
Yeah.
But he was. I mean, very, very, very light gold.
Yeah.
If there was even it was a gradient. It was maybe like a 10% gold.
Zirconium, maybe?
Yeah, it was like whitish. It might have been
Right.
close to white, which is a hint of gold. And his eyes.
It was like the cheapest high school ring you could get.
exactly right. Yeah, yeah,
That was.
yeah.
It was
like he turned.
Local gold or whatever.
Yeah.
They would have like a term. They'd be like, oh, yeah. Special zone, like mountain gold or something. You'd be
Yeah,
like, that's
just
a
something
unique.
they tried to sell you on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that turned.